Hi everyone, I'm Chrissy B and you are watching the UK's only TV programme that's dedicated to your mental health and well-being. Now, we love to inspire you on this show because we know that you can do well in life even if you don't quite believe in yourself. That was actually my case in the past, but that changed when I found help and support. So even if you've had a rough past, even if you've made lots of mistakes that you regret, or if you feel stuck and it seems that life is just passing you by, stay tuned because this show is going to inspire you. So who will be joining me on the sofa today? Well, I have two very inspirational stories. First up is Victoria Reynolds, who's the founder of the Empower program, an amazing pilot project for young autistic students that want to attend university. She is joined by our resident autism correspondent, Anna Kennedy. We'll also be meeting an inspirational young man called Reggie, whose whole life changed when he decided to knock on the doors of the wealthy to ask how they got rich, and this action alone led to his own success. Psychologist Dr. Audrey Tang is back for this week's Psychology Matters segment, and she'll be talking about what prevents people from seeing their potential and how they can start to think differently. Helena Shah brings us all the positive news out there in this week's A Helping of Happy. Dr. Rob Hicks will be answering all of your medical questions in Doctor's Answers, and then we take you on location to Hannah Rich's kitchen for a heartwarming recipe, and our fitness expert Natalia Kotoska shows us some outside exercises for your lower body using a park bench. So let's get started with Victoria Reynolds and Anna Kennedy. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Hello, nice to see you again.
So Victoria, we are going to talk to you in just a moment, but first of all, let's get the updates from Anna.
Yeah, I've had a busy day today, haven't we? We've done a radio interview and then I've done a talk at South Bank University, so it's just been a real whirlwind of a day, but we've just finished Autumn's Got Talent, which was in Liverpool. It was amazing. The kids really enjoyed it. We've made some new friendships. So
that's nice.
Yeah, so now we're obviously looking forward to the one in May, so if anyone's looking for, you want to enter, it's December the 31st is when the cut-off date, and then we're now preparing for our expo, which is the Autism Expo. We did the anti-bullying campaign, which went really, really well. So people holding up posters saying, we say no to bullying, give us a break. So many people, we've had people in garages, people in offices holding the posters up. Nice. So there was a really successful campaign, and we're working for UK Charity Week now, which is the first week in December. And I'm working with them because I'm ambassador, so lots of things happening.
Brilliant. Busy as usual.
Yeah, as always.
But not too busy to meet new people like you have done here with Victoria. Can you tell us about how you two met?
Yeah, so Victoria and I met on Twitter. I meet everyone on Twitter, but in a positive way. So yeah, we started chatting and we decided, let's see if we can do something together.
So tell us what you do, Victoria.
So I work for the NHS, and I predominantly talk to people about careers and opportunities to work in the NHS, because a lot of people do think it is doctors and nurses, what you might see on TV, when in actual fact there's over 350 different careers in the NHS. Wow. So it's just talking to individuals about all of those roles that you wouldn't really think of.
Okay. Right.
So and I sort of set up work programs for individuals as well.
Okay. And when did your interest in autism related issues come into play?
So I was on social media again, and I saw an article about Bath University. They have a programme for students on the spectrum. So in summer they have a 3-day residential for students transitioning to university, and then they also work with an organisation to do like a spring pre-employment transition workshop. And I just thought it sounded fantastic, and did some research, and I thought, I could set something up that was quite similar. And then that's when I obviously got in touch with Anna and we took it from there really. So
what have you actually established then since that
it's just such a positive project, and that's what we're about, and it's about creating opportunities, and that's what's
it called?
It's called the
Empower Programme.
The Empower Programme.
So it's really just to get the information out there to individuals that there are all of these different career opportunities, and for individuals to make that informed choice as to whether it's something for them. So there are 3 parts to the programme. It's a pilot, so we're going to see how it goes this year and next year. So in December we have a careers fair, which will include universities, local NHS trusts, and really that's a representation of the different career pathways. So students can come along with parents, teachers, and just have those conversations really.
It's for 16 to 18-year-olds,
Yeah.
so they might be interested in university. And what I'm going to be doing is taking our ambassador, Matty Straight, who's been through university, he's now set up his own business, and he's only 21 years old. So he's going to be coming along to speak to parents, to speak to students, and just talk about his experience, just to show, look what I've achieved. He was told that he would never amount to anything by this way when he was at school. He's got Asperger's, dyscalculia, he's got dyspraxia. So and his business has been going for a year, and it's really successful.
Amazing. Do you think then that a lot of young students with autism shy away from university and thinking that maybe they can't achieve their dreams?
I think part of it's to do with the process, it's quite daunting, and obviously the money side of it. We were actually just talking about this today at South Bank University, and we were saying there's a lot of students out there that want a job, they want to set up their own business, they want to go to university, but it's the whole process. They need someone to navigate the process with them, and once they're there, it's to do with anxiety as well, isn't it? Because obviously a lot of them might have been bullied in the past, or...
And I think that's one of the things about the event, is that individuals can just have that, chat with somebody and ask those questions instead of just maybe, filling an application form online. They can, about those concerns, they can just talk to people really. So from the event in December, we're going to hold a 2-day workshop in springtime for final year students. And that's really to help them transition from university life to employment. So everything from interview techniques to what it's like, working in the NHS, different roles. And then we'd look to offer those individuals a place like a summer internship following that. So the idea is that in 3 to 4 years' time, those individuals that come along and hopefully apply to university then come through and attend the spring pre-employment workshop.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's a positive project, and if this goes really well, then hopefully other universities will look at it and think, oh, we're going to try that. So this will be the model. So hopefully we can push it out.
Must be exciting, like having founded something like this and putting it all together. How does it feel?
Oh, it's brilliant. Obviously, I've met some fantastic people along the way, and I think the main thing is that so many people are just so positive about it. There's just been so much support from people that I've never met, and they're just helping so much with it, which is just brilliant, and putting me in touch with different people. So
we only put it out about 3 weeks ago, and the 70 places already been taken.
Really?
So 70 students, potential students.
It must be like, wow.
So it shows you that the demand is out there. So
Victor, can I just ask you, do you face any challenges with it as well? Like when you thought, oh gosh, this is hard work?
Yeah, I mean, it's, organising any big event really always comes with its challenges, really.
How did you overcome them, those challenges?
I just don't take no for an
That's why I like her. I was going to say, there's quite similarities here, right?
There's the end goal that I see I want to happen, so it's just about trying to talk to people and make sure it happens and get the right support in place.
Okay, wonderful. It's a great achievement, and I'm sure it's going to be a huge success all over the country, I'm sure.
So we can come back next year.
You should give us an update.
See how we get on.
Definitely.
So that's amazing.
All right, so we'll see you again soon, Anna.
Yeah,
very
definitely.
Soon. And we'll have you back on to tell us about all the progress of the project. Amazing.
That'd be great, thank you.
Okay, everybody, so after the break, I speak to a very inspirational young man called Reggie, and he'll be telling us about what happened when he decided to knock on the doors of the wealthy to ask how they got rich and how that led him to meeting and interviewing the Prime Minister. And psychologist Dr. Audrey Tang is back for this week's Psychology Matters segment. She'll be talking about what prevents people from seeing their potential and how they can start to think differently. Welcome back to today's Chrissy B Show, everybody, where we are speaking about knocking on the doors of opportunity. So now I have a very inspirational young man with me, and that's Reggie Nelson. Welcome to the show, Reggie.
Thank you for having me, Chrissy. Thank you.
It's lovely to have you. I know you've been in the news a lot lately.
Yeah.
So you've said you'll come on today as well to tell us your story, which I find really, really inspirational. But first of all, can you tell us about your life growing up? What was that like for you?
Yeah, sure thing. So I grew up in East London, a place called Northwich, which is near Canning Town. And growing up was okay. I had a lot of fun growing up, but things were quite hard growing up as well. So I grew up with my mum, my dad, and my sister, but then my dad sadly left us when I was around 10. So I grew up with my mum and my sister. And growing up where we grew up, there wasn't many sort of role models whilst growing up, so it was very easy to get involved in mischievous things, and you never really had someone to look up to and say, I want to be like X or I want to be like Y. So like I mentioned, it was very easy to get straight away, but I had one thing that sort of kept me on a straight and narrow, which was football. Okay. So growing up, I was fairly good at football. I played at youth professional and youth semi-professional level, and that was what I stuck to. So whilst growing up, I was pursuing that. I signed a 2-year contract when I was 16 years old. And in school, I wasn't the most academic person in school because I only went to school because if you didn't go to school, then you got in trouble. So my whole focus was football. I'm going to school, I'm going to participate in lessons, etc. But football was what I was pursuing. So that's how I was sort of growing up.
Well, you didn't go down the football route in the end, did you?
No, I didn't. No.
But we'll go to it now. Yeah. But tell us then, let's fast forward now to when you actually decided that you needed to change your life in some way. Why did you come to that conclusion that something needed to change in your life? Sure.
So my mum and dad were both alcoholics whilst we were growing up. So they were both heavily addicted to alcohol. My dad more so. So my dad came back into our lives when I was 15. And shortly after that, he passed away when I was 17 years old. So he died through alcohol abuse, and he was admitted into hospital. And I remember I was in college at the time, and my mum got a call and she told me to come home, and then she told me the news that he had passed away. And at that point, I already had thoughts about sort of not giving up football, but finding another avenue to become successful, because I always knew I wanted to become successful and I was going to use football as that avenue. And after I heard that news, it was almost the confirmation that, you know, I want to do something a bit more long term in order to provide for my family and make a successful career for myself. So that's when I decided
you made quite a sacrifice, didn't you? Because you loved football.
Yeah. I mean, football wasn't just, for me, it wasn't just a sport. It was a way to sort of express myself and to get my mind off things that were going on at home or in school or just in life in general. So yeah, it was a great sacrifice when I decided to do that. But
it's a sacrifice that paid off.
Yeah, I guess it was.
Tell us what actually happened. So you decided one day that you wanted to change the situation at home. You wanted to provide, you know, a good future for yourself and for your family. So you decided to knock on some doors. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so when I made that decision to stop playing football, like I mentioned, I wasn't the most academic person in school. So I said, okay, I don't know my skill set, so what can I do in order to find out what people did to amass their wealth? And I thought to myself, what better way to do that? And I remember I was attending like a youth group, and they said, come out your comfort zone and do something different. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do that. I wanna come out my comfort zone and do something different. And I remember I was watching a TV show called How'd You Get So Rich by Joan Rivers. And what she does is she goes into the streets of America asking people, you know, what skills they had, what they did to amass their wealth. So I decided to do that. I typed in Google richest areas in London, and it came up with an area in Kensington and Chelsea called Gloucester Road, and I just went to people and started asking them what skills and qualities they had to make them successful. They're successful enough to live in that area anyway.
Yeah.
And
what was the feedback, like the reaction?
So as you can imagine, I didn't go there in like a suit. I went there in jeans, trainers and a jumper, so I wasn't the most presentable person on the day. But people were fairly receptive. Someone gave me £40 for asking him the question.
Wow.
He was a guy, he had an Aston Martin, and he gave me £40 just for asking him the question.
Yeah.
So that was a bonus, but after asking people on the streets, I didn't get the tangible advice that I wanted. People will stop and speak, but as you can imagine, anyone that stops you in the street, you haven't got much time to offer them.
Yeah.
So that's when I decided to go and knock on people's doors, because I thought if they're at home, then they either have to open a door to me, whether that is to tell me to go away, to give me advice, or actually them too. Yeah, exactly. So that's when I decided to go and knock on people's doors. And the first couple of doors, not many people were in. It was a Saturday afternoon, so not many people were at home. So I knocked on a few doors. Some people shut the door in my face. Some told me to go away.
What kept you going? Because that's quite humiliating, like having doors slammed in your face.
The £40 gave me a bit of fuel. That gave me a bit of fuel.
Yeah.
But I guess just knowing why I came there. I mean, I went there and I made a journey from East to West London. So I went across London, and I said, I knew what I wanted, but I didn't know what I wanted at the same time. So I knew that I wanted something that I was going to take there and use it for myself. And I thought, if I've come all the way here, 1 or 2 doors shut in my face isn't going to really deter me from getting that tangible advice that I wanted. Yeah. So after I did get the doors, slammed in my face, someone did, someone thought I was going to rob them as well, which I thought was quite funny. But then I knocked on one door, and this lady opens the door, and she comes to the intercom and invites me in after I told her.
Were you shocked that she just invited, because you're a complete stranger on her doorstep?
Yeah, I mean, I had a pitch and I rehearsed the pitch, so I guess she bought into the pitch. So I said, hi, my name's Reggie, I'm from East London. I just want to know what skills and qualities you had that allowed you to live in this house. Yeah. And she thought it was part of a school project. So I said, no, I'm doing it off my own back. And she opens the door, invites me in. So I was a bit surprised, but yeah, I guess I was surprised. But then she invites me and sits me down, and she just asked me, okay, what am I interested in? And at the point, I wasn't focusing on school or studying. I didn't really want to study anymore. But then I told her that, I do enjoy sort of the business side of things and technology. And as we were speaking, her husband walks in, and her husband was the senior exec for the largest asset management company on the planet. And he really offered mentorship and guidance. And he said, you know what, Reggie, if you're interested in business and technology, my company dabbles in that. So why don't you come down for a day just to see what it's like? Okay. And that's when I went to the company, and I spent the day there. I think it was 2 weeks after. I spent the day there. And when I was there, I enjoyed it. I mean, I turned up about an hour early. My tie was so short. I didn't know how to dress, the corporate attire. I remember I had spectacles, and I don't wear glasses. And I thought, because I thought, this environment, I guess that these people were quite smart. Yeah. So I said, how do I come across as someone that is smart? So I got a pair of glasses with fake lenses, and I put them on, and I got there an hour early, and I was sitting there, and I was waiting for the rest of the group, because it was undergraduate day. So I was waiting for the rest of the undergraduates to come. But before they started coming in, I said, I can't keep up this image. So before they all came, I just took it off and I put it back in my bag.
Just started to be you, right?
Be me, exactly, yeah. I just wanted to be authentic, and
that's it.
That's
nice that you made the effort.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So no one actually saw me in glasses, which is good, because then they'll say, where's your glasses? So after that, I spent the day there, and Quinton, the guy that I met, Quinton, and he assigned me someone to speak and to mentor me. And after that, I managed to get a week-long work experience at the company in the summer of 2014. And after that, I had a meeting with my mum, Quinton, and the guy that he assigned to mentor me. And that's when he advised me to go to university. Okay. But that wasn't something I wanted to do at all. University wasn't part of my plans. But he said to me, Reggie, if you want to make yourself the most competitive candidate, he would advise me to go to university in order to do that. So when I got my grades, I didn't go through the university process, because I didn't really apply for universities. Okay. I never set foot in a university in my life. So I started to call universities and said, hi, do you have anything finance related? What do you have available? And Kingston University had economics available. Okay. So I enrolled into economics, and they also said that I could study a language as well. So I studied economics and Mandarin at university.
How's your Mandarin?
Not good.
Okay, but you
Not good. I tried, yeah, not good.
Okay.
I didn't keep it up after I graduated.
Okay.
So I graduated last year.
Well, congratulations.
Oh,
for
thank
that.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
What's that now led to? What have you been doing?
So I did my 3 years of university. I was fortunate enough to do about 4 internships whilst at university. And I've been working in the city. So I work in the City of London now in investment management, which is what I wanted to do from the very beginning.
Yeah.
And from there, it's just opened so many doors. So BBC have got in touch with me beginning of the year, and I've made a short documentary with the BBC. And from there, it's just opened so many doors. So BBC have got in touch with me beginning of the year, and I've made a short documentary with the BBC. I've done an interview with ITV. I am the group chair of an accountancy institute on the talent arm. So I sit on that, just helping to, I guess, develop undergraduates so that when they go into the working world, they have the soft skills needed to excel. I've met with Prime Minister Theresa May. So she and her team...
You just met, you interviewed her, didn't you?
Yeah, I met and interviewed her. So she saw my BBC story, and she was launching a new initiative called the Race at Work Charter. And it was basically about increasing diversity within the corporate space. So when she saw my video, she said, can we invite him to the launch? So I came with my company, and afterwards they asked if I could interview her. And ask her a bit about it, and I interviewed her.
When you interviewed her?
Yeah, I think that was the most nervous I've been. Yeah.
You didn't look nervous when you were doing the interview.
I guess I did. I mean, I was. I mean, I got in, and they told me, okay, she's going to be about 5 minutes. So they gave me the prep and told me how to interview her, how to hold the mic.
Oh,
and
bless, a crash course.
Yeah, I was sitting there tapping my leg and don't know what to do with my arms. And when she walks in, I was like, you are Theresa May. But I guess after I asked the first question, everything else rolled off, and it was fine after that.
So we have a natural talent for presenting.
You never know. You never know. So yeah, a lot of stuff have come of it. I do a lot of freelance speaking for the BBC now. So I've been part of their tour that they've had called the Inspire Me Tour, which is going to different institutions and schools with other people that are doing relatively well in their field, and just inspiring school kids or people from youth groups. So I do that as well. Do a lot of BBC radio.
What does it feel like now, sort of from how your life was before, now doing all of this?
It just
How's it feel?
It's very surreal. People, recognise me when I'm walking the streets. Like today, 2 people recognised me when I was outside. But just being able to have an impact, and I guess now what I've seen is when I get invited to do university tours or corporate talks or whatever, people actually see that, whatever I'm saying, they are going to take on board because they really resonate with the story, and that's something I didn't know people did. I did it quite selfishly to say, I want a better life, I'm going to do this. But now it's almost, wow, look at what Reggie's done, and it's almost had a bit of impact, not on just people from a disadvantaged background or a working class background, but also people from all social classes, which I didn't know it would have. So it's been good and it's been great, and I guess just people coming to me and inviting me to do various different things it's been great.
I know you've been very busy. We were talking just before we started recording. All right, just one final question though, because sometimes as we're seeing on the news recently, there's so much going on with youths and killing each other and kind of saying that they've got no choice and this is the kind of life that that's given to them, and they can't change anything, they can't do anything. What would you say to young people today that are have that kind of mindset that, do you know what, I'm not going to make it in life anyway, so I might as well just do anything or lead a life of crime? What would you say? I
would just say, number one, it's not worth it. It's not worth it at all. And I would say that you just have to sort of create your own opportunities. I understand that being from a disadvantaged background or being from an environment where there aren't great role models, you are deprived from opportunities like being able to work in the corporate sector, for an example. But it doesn't mean that your opportunities aren't there. You just have to go outside and almost create your own door and cliche, open the door for yourself. I think that if people come with that authenticity to say, what, I genuinely want to get out of that lifestyle and to do something else, people have a lot of time for them. I mean, I'm someone where if someone messages me on any social media, I always try to get back to them if their request is genuine. And there are many people like that to say, what, I like what you've done, I want to give you an opportunity, or I want to give you a shot, or I want to meet with you. There are opportunities out there. So I would just say that, number one, it is not worth it because, I grew up with friends like that, and some of my friends that I grew up with half of them are in prison, and I've lost about 3 or 4 friends to gang and knife crime, like you mentioned. So, and the friends that I did grow up with that are either not in prison or dead, they look to me as an example to say, you know what, Reggie, you've done really, really well. I remember I saw one of them last week and they were really happy with me. I haven't seen them for 3 or 4 years. And it just goes to show that, you know, we all started together, and we all had the same opportunities or resources at hand, but I guess I was fortunate enough to be able to use the resources at hand to create my own opportunity. So it just goes to show that there are opportunities out there, just go and make it for yourself.
Really inspiring story, Reggie. Thank you so much. And please do keep in touch and let us know how it's going. We'll have you back on and talk about your progress.
Thank you, I will do.
Amazing.
Thank you very much, Chrissy. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, so now let's go to Dr. Audrey Tang to discuss what prevents people from seeing their potential. Welcome to the show, Audrey.
Thanks for having me, Chrissy.
So first of all, what did you think of Reggie's story?
I loved it. He's so positive and he's got brilliant results, and there's so many things we can learn from him. I love the fact he's got such a can-do attitude. That's something he talks about. And the self-belief, but I like the way he framed it. It was the no one can believe in me as much as me. And that is a really important thing, because that's not arrogant, that is genuine self-belief, and that's wonderful. He strikes me as one of those people I like to call a why not person. Instead of this might go wrong, or why should I do this because that might happen, it's why not? Let's give it a go, see what happens. And then the other key thing he talked about was the mentoring, because that's so important. Having someone who believes in you, who'll support you, really great stuff.
It's wonderful, isn't it? Oh, I'm so proud of him. Okay, so Audrey, now let's talk about potential. Now, some people cannot seem to see their own potential. Why is that, and how can we change that?
A lot of the time it's fear and inflexibility. Those are the two key problems. We fear failure, and the older we get, the more we fear it, because somehow we feel it as more shameful or more humiliating, or maybe we're doing it on a larger scale. With children, if we fail, generally someone will say, oh, it's okay, let's try again. But as an adult, it almost feels a bit like we should be able to do it straight away. So fear might actually stop us from even trying in the first place. Then there's inflexibility to some extent. It's always great to have a plan A and to go for that plan A, and if it doesn't work, to try it again. But it may come to a point where you think, plan A is really not working, can I go to plan B? And whilst it can feel like plan B is a failure or it's a change of direction, it might just mean that plan B is just another route or another way of getting back to plan A again. So sometimes just trying it from a different perspective can help us achieve. Going to the research now, what a lot of psychologists who talk about learning say that sometimes when it comes to a new skill or a talent or harnessing something that we've got within us, there's a critical period and a sensitive period. The sensitive period is the time when, if we can learn it at that point, it's great, but the critical period is if we don't learn it after that point, we're going to have trouble learning it or harnessing that particular skill. So sometimes if a talent is discovered quite late, it may be that we can't really sort of get to as much potential as we could have. But it may also be because we're older, we just don't have the time to practice.
That's true,
Then,
responsibility.
Exactly, or priorities or other things that we've got. The other thing to remember is a psychologist called Vygotsky talks about a more knowledgeable other. And in this particular case, you've got somebody with perhaps natural talent, but it can be harnessed, it can be guided, it can be pushed by somebody who is already an expert in the field. Somebody who can say, right, you've got this, I'm going to shape it in this particular way, and this is how you need to go forward. And we don't always have that, or we don't always have the right one, because there can be a lot of coaches, a lot of people who support us, but maybe if somebody isn't quite as expert or doesn't quite gel with us, we might not have the person to actually get us there. So it's sometimes worth, if say one teacher isn't working for you, maybe consider a different one, because it might just be a personality clash, it might just be their technique isn't suitable to you. And there's, again, it's back to your plan B again. So those are some of the things that we can look at. But then, this is from management research, sometimes simply having the tools to do it can make the difference. You might have the best runner in the world or the best swimmer in the world, but they may not be as fast as somebody else because they simply just don't have the equipment. And that in itself, that can take money, that can take other opportunities, which again, may be
welcome back to today's Chrissy B Show, everyone, where we are talking about knocking on the right doors for opportunities. So now it's time to talk to Helena Shard in this week's A Helping of Happy. Hello, happy Helena.
Hi, Chrissy.
I'm especially happy today. I'm sorry.
Because of these,
we have
I
these
know.
gorgeous
So pretty.
little gingerbread teddy bear things with a bow and so cute, courtesy of Greg's, I have to say. So cute, I love them. That's why we're a bit distracted and quite happy, even happier than
We're
normal.
always
that is.
happy. We're
I know,
always happy.
I know. Okay.
So I'm going to begin another inspirational young man, Abdullah Katine from Syria.
Okay.
Now he has been through some hardship with, you know, the obvious going on in Syria, but has a is really focused and has been for years now. And he had one dream, and he has made it. So I mean, and his one dream is that he wanted to go to Cambridge University, he's made it. I mean, incredible. You know, lack of money, power cuts. You know, 18 hours a day, no textbooks, but did have a mobile phone, so studied on his mobile phone, and he's made it.
When you want to do something,
see, you can go for it. And he's now at Cambridge. His friends at college have helped him get grants. He's covering his costs, a charitable trust is covering costs. Yeah. And he's got a mentor that's helping him work on a cure for Alzheimer's, because his one main woman in his life was his grandmother, who really pushed him when he was younger, and she has Alzheimer's, so he's working on it. So, I mean, a fantastic story.
Brilliant.
Isn't
He's
that
going to
great?
make it, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to more of a business thing, which is really good fun. There is a company called Quirky in the US, and every Thursday they have a weekly meeting. And the idea is, if you've got an idea, loads of people come together on a Thursday. It's almost like a college kind of setup, and they all talk about these new ideas. But Quirky takes it a step forward, that any idea that's hugely fantastic, they then go ahead and take it to market.
Oh, nice.
So everyone makes money.
Yeah.
So it's not just for the rich, because obviously lots of people come up with an idea. If you've got money, you can bring it out there. So fantastic. I mean, last year they brought in 48 million revenue, and the CEO, Ben Kothman, was talking about it. And he was talking about how the best ideas, they don't come from the boardroom. It's normally living room.
It's true.
Hence the reason why it's a
when you say,
relaxed
I wish I had
setup.
this, could do this or whatever.
Yeah,
and
so
then you just...
it's a great networking event, and obviously bringing a product to market in a fun way, which I thought really fantastic. And happy birthday to Prince Charles. It's his birthday period.
Yes,
70 years old, although he feels much younger.
Yeah, well,
Congratulations
he
to him.
actually looks younger.
He does, doesn't he?
Thank you, Helena. So we will have a cake on him.
We will, yes. Cheers.
And we'll see you again next time.
Definitely.
Thank you. Well, everybody, now it's time to head over to our medical corner for Doctor's Answers with Dr. Rob Hicks. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Hi, Chris. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Fantastic, thank you.
Ready to answer some questions again?
I am indeed.
Lovely jubbly. So let's start with the first one. This person's saying, I have very dry hands. How often should I use a hand moisturiser? I'm a bit concerned that I'm moisturising too often and could be causing more harm than good. Is that possible?
That's a really good question, simply because the majority of us don't moisturise our hands enough.
Yeah.
So it's not a case of doing it too often. You can do it as often as you like. You know, you're unlikely to cause any harm to the skin of your hands. I mean, you know, if you do it frequently throughout the day. If you feel that the hands are dry or they look dry, then put some moisturiser on there. I think one of the other things to think about, obviously, is to prevent them becoming dry in the first place. So think about protecting them from the elements. You know, water will dry the hands out. So if you're doing the washing up, put on some gloves. If you're out in the cold weather, again, keep the hands warm. Wear gloves. And often people find that cotton or silk is kinder to the hands than some of the wools, which can irritate the hands a little bit. Indoors, if you've got central heating, maybe turn the heating down a bit. Think about using a humidifier within the house. And when you're bathing or showering, again, the hands are going to get very, very wet as well. So you want to keep the water at a warm temperature rather than hot, and not spend too much time submerging the hands in the water. When you do wash your hands, just use plain water or a simple soap. I would avoid things that have got perfumes and deodorants, those sorts of products. Ideally, a soap that's actually got an added moisturiser with it. So when you are putting the moisturiser on, particularly when the hands have been wet, pat the skin dry, because that will stop them becoming irritated, and then put the moisturising cream on whilst the skin is still damp, because that helps to seal in the moisture. And remember, skin needs to be hydrated as well as the rest of the body, so drink lots of liquid. But I would say to you, if you notice that your hands are dry and they're flaky, or that they're red, or they're weeping, or they're very, very itchy, have a word with your doctor, because it might mean that you need some additional treatment.
Okay, wonderful. Next question, Rob. Is it normal to feel out of breath after a stroll? I'm not new to exercise and do walk quite regularly, but lately I seem to get out of breath.
I think the simple answer to this is it can be normal, but this is a new thing, isn't it? This is, you know, somebody who does exercise and they've noticed lately that they're getting out of breath.
Yeah.
So my advice to you is to have a checkup, really, to find out, you know, if there is anything else going on. The reality is it can be normal. It can be based on your level of fitness. It can be based on the fact of how much additional activity you might be doing, but also
they've changed where they've been strolling.
Exactly, absolutely. The terrain, absolutely right. It might be that they've changed that. So it might be something as simple as that, and their body will then adapt to it.
Yeah.
If you've had a chest infection, for example, you know, often although the symptoms have gone, it can take a bit longer for the lungs to recover, for all the inflammation to die down. So you may feel a little bit short of breath after you've done your standard sort of walking. But I would urge you to have a checkup, because it could be a new onset problem. So you might have developed asthma, for example. Particularly, you know, don't hang around to have a checkup if in addition to shortness of breath, you're getting symptoms like dizziness, lightheadedness, cough, chest tightness, or pain. So the odds are it's probably normal, but get it checked out.
Best to get it checked out, definitely. And the last question for today, Rob. I was watching the news the other day and there was a report about the dangers of flu. It had me quite worried, actually, as they featured a story of a woman who died after getting a virus. What are your top tips to prevent getting flu this winter? I have to say, I saw this report and it was really scary. It was really like, you just wouldn't think it could happen.
Well, the reality is that tragically, certainly in the UK every year, you know, a number of people die as a consequence of complications of the flu, and it's often pneumonia, you know, a lung infection. So you ask a very, very good question. You know, let's avoid it in the first place. So one of the simple things straightforward things is you've got to keep your immune system as strong as possible, and you do that with a healthy diet. You do that with regular exercise. You do that with getting enough rest and relaxation, and you know, you do that by not smoking. So that's how you basically maintain a good immune system. I would suggest washing your hands frequently throughout the day, because if the flu virus is around, it can remain on hard surfaces for a period of time. Yeah.
But if you don't have a sink near you, can use the hand sanitizer?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can. Okay. Absolutely right. Okay. Yes. So make sure that, you know, what people do is that the virus goes onto the fingers, they then touch their nose or their mouth or eyes, in goes the virus. Okay. The other thing, of course, is to stay away from people who've got the flu as best as possible, or people who are coughing.
It's like our hairstylist today. She's
really.
Like, oh.
I'll have a word with her later, shall I?
Okay.
And then, of course, here in the UK, there are lots of people who are advised to have an annual flu vaccination, so that the flu jab. So it's everybody over the age of 65, pregnant women, and certainly people who've got long-term health conditions. They may be of the lungs, they may be of the heart, kidneys. You know, maybe somebody's got diabetes, for example. Carers of people, and people who live in long-stay residential accommodation as well. So have a chat with your doctor or nurse to see whether you should have a flu jab. In the UK, you will be contacted, and I would urge you to take up that invitation. It's very, very important.
Brilliant, Rob. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And we shall see you again next time.
Yes, indeed.
Brilliant. Okay, everybody, so after the break, we go on location with our resident nutritionist, Hannah Richards, putting together a heartwarming recipe, and our fitness expert, Natalia Kotowska, takes us outside for a lower body workout.
Do you feel like you've helped a lot of people whilst doing this dance?
Yes, I like to think so. From the feedback that we've got, it has helped a lot of people, and you know, we're still going, we're still doing the tour around schools and different places. So I hope this will continue for a long time. So now it's time to take you on location to Hannah Richards' kitchen, and she's going to be making a very hearty, healthy meal.
Hello and welcome to the Chrissy B Show. My name's Hannah Richards, and today I'm going to teach you what to do with your pumpkin. We're going to make some parsnip soup. So take your pumpkin. Now do be careful when cutting your pumpkin. The bigger it is, the more precarious it can be to cut. So always make sure your knife is nice and sharp, and that you're careful. So we're just going to scoop out these seeds out of the pumpkin, and they should come away fairly easily like that. So once you've scoured out all your pumpkins, you want to try and take some of the meat out of the pumpkin, because that's going to be the base for our pumpkin soup. So with a small knife, you just want to start taking away, just like that, some of the flesh of the pumpkin, because what we're going to be left with is our soup bowl for the soup. So make sure that you don't cut into the skin, otherwise your soup will pour out. So once you've scoured out your pumpkin meat, it should look a bit more like that. There should be more hollow so that you can put your soup in. So it goes from this to this. So now we're just going to add our garlic into the pumpkin meat. And then we're just going to mix that into the bowl with the pumpkin and then sweat them out into the pan. So you can just use some coconut oil to put into the pan. Make sure the heat's on a fairly low heat. Then add some sea salt, a bit of black pepper, and then you can just throw in your pumpkin that you've chopped and your crushed garlic. Then we're going to add a little bit of water. Just make sure the water is just covering the pumpkin and let it simmer away. And then we're going to sweat it out just by putting the lid on top. And that might take about 20 minutes to half an hour. So once your pumpkin in the pan with the garlic is ready, the flesh is nice and soft and it's all mixing in well. It looks like it's a nice consistency. You're going to add some organic bone broth. I've got some beef bone broth here, and I'm just going to add it into the pan and mix it up all together. So the heat is nice and low. When you use broth or a stock, it gives it a really good solid flavour. A bit earlier I roasted a beetroot, and I'm just going to slice it up and put it on top of the pumpkin soup. So now all we're going to do is we're going to use those pumpkins that we carved earlier and use them as our bowls, and we're going to pour that yummy pumpkin, garlic and broth liquid into our pumpkin halves. Then we're going to very delicately add in a little bit of beetroot onto the side. And we're just going to finish it with a bit of black pepper. There you go.
Thank you very much to Hannah there. So now here's our fitness expert Natalia Kotoska with some outdoor exercises for your lower body.
Hey guys, it's me again and Can Do It with Natalia, your fitness expert, and we again in the park and again have some 3 nice exercises that you can use in your own time. Look, it's park, beautiful weather, not raining, we can do it all day long. So we're gonna go for lower body first. First exercise I wanna show you is a squat with the jump, but we're gonna sit and or touch only lightly with our bum the bench, and while we up we're gonna jump high up, sit down, jump high up, sit or just touch literally with the back of your leg, with your hamstring. Touch it, jump, touch, jump, touch, jump. If you want to add a little bit an extra difficult bit, you can touch, jump, and touch your feet in the air. So all the way down, touch, jump, hop, and hop. Go at least 20 repetitions each, or within the time, 45 seconds I would say, then take a 15 seconds break. So once you finish with those one, then you can move to the side of the bench. You can grab it for better balance, and then you just lightly go behind and in, back and in. So squeeze your glutes all the way up and bring your leg down, and again, up and down. Make sure that you really use your core muscle. Tuck your belly button in and go all the way up. Squeeze that glute all the way up and down. Release it. Up and down. Do at least 20 repetitions each. So one leg at a time, and then you go other leg at the time. Try not to lean forward. So we not want to lean forward while we're going for those leg raises. We're trying to maintain that nice straight posture using our core. Open your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades, and again, one more time, we want to just work with our lower body, so including glutes, quads, hamstring. You can point your toes, and you go at least, again, 20 each leg. If that's too easy, I have another variation for you, so have a look. You step on your bench all the way up, raise your leg up, and go again down, and again up and down. You can have your hands on your hips, you can have them on your shoulders, you can just have them down, whatever works for you. Again, try not to lean forward. We're trying to compose and have nice posture, balance. We're using our leg to go up, we're using quads, and then glutes all the way down, and again, up and down, and up and down. One leg at a time, then you switch leg, go all the way up and down, and up and down. That variation is good for people who are not afraid of heights. So there you go. You have, again, 3 great exercises for your lower body. You can have this upgraded version at the end. Challenge yourself. Go either 20 repetitions each leg, or go 45, 50 seconds. Then take the 10 seconds break. Do it at least 3 times, so you have nice 10 minutes of good workout for your lower body. Thank you so much for today, and I will see you very soon.
Thank you very much to Natalia there, and now it's time to go to my thought of the day. Thank you very much to all my guests on today's program. I've really enjoyed today's show, and it was lovely speaking to Reggie, such an inspirational young man. So there is something that I drew from today's program, especially from Reggie's story. Without action, nothing can actually take place. And what tends to happen, unfortunately, for many people, is that instead of actually doing something about a particular situation, people love to complain. They blame other people, they blame the government, they blame their circumstances on their lack of success, or maybe even they blame other people and their circumstances for the fact that they get into crime. Whereas I do recognize that, it is very difficult for some people. We're not all born equal. Some people are born in really, really hard circumstances, but that's not an excuse to go down a wrong road. And it's also, I don't think, an excuse just to sit there and do nothing with your life. So let's take Reggie's example. Even though he grew up in a very difficult circumstance, things weren't good at home, he had both parents alcoholics, as he said. However, he didn't let that kind of define him and his future. He made a decision. He said, I'm going to do something. Now, he didn't know at the time what to do, but he did something. And we always say that something is better than nothing. In most cases, I suppose in all areas of life, doing something is better than doing nothing at all, because you don't know, sometimes that something is going to be the thing that makes all the difference in your life. Who would have thought, for example, that him knocking on a door would create such opportunities for him and lead him to the success that he has today. Just one action, one small thing that he did changed everything in his life, and that's the point that I'm trying to make. Sometimes you underestimate what a small step can make, what a small thing that you do, what impact that small thing can have on your life. And you shouldn't, because, you know, sometimes a lot of things don't work. There's many things that I try in my life for different areas of my life that do not work, but at least I tried. But there's other things that a small thing that I might do, or a small idea that I have, or something that I put into practice that really does make a huge difference in my life. And if you don't try, if you don't do something, nothing will happen. But if you do something, there is a much higher probability, actually there is a probability that something will come of it. So instead of complaining, if you're the type of person that likes to complain, that likes to blame others, just take my advice, stop complaining. Stop blaming other people. Start using all that energy that you have to complain and to blame other people. Take that energy and put it into doing something. Start thinking of things that you can do. Use that energy to change your life instead, because there are no excuses. I'm sorry. Sometimes we try, you know, I suppose it's a human thing. We're full of excuses sometimes, excuses for everything, or why we can't do something, or why our lives are a certain way, but no more excuses. If you say that to yourself, I'm not going to make excuses anymore for my life, I'm going to do something to change it. You will be on the lookout for opportunities. You will create opportunities, as Reggie said, and things will definitely change in your life. Well, everyone, we have reached the end of today's program, but if you have a story that you would like to share, please do get in touch with us on info@chrissybshow.tv. You can also tweet us at Chrissy B Show, or leave a message on our Facebook page, The Chrissy B Show. And if you'd like to know more about my mental health journey and what I did to beat depression and panic attacks and all sorts of other mental health issues that I had, you can visit my personal website, which is mylifeafterdepression.com. Until next time, bye-bye for now.